checking out the stream, make sure it's running.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Sounds good too.
Just going on restream. I don't know if I should even attempt the TikTok side today. It's probably the same. But just for testing sake, gonna stream it to TikTok also.
This is sad, we don't have a lot of people today.
It's okay, it's just market, right? It's like it's literally what Chop does. It's like gradually over time, nothing happens, but then everyone gets like
tired,
washed out, right? And then eventually resets. The big players can buy in, and then people fall in late again. It's just the same thing every time.
Maybe I think it's time to make clickbait then. Opportunity, lifetime opportunity trade, guys. Coming.
It's time to dance. I think.
Time to ask some tutorials from the Moon Carl.
I was thinking you were talking about the moon. Yeah. I mean, he's a scalper, right? He trades very short term, which is like okay, but then like his video titles are all like, it's like not that. So I get what you mean by clickbait.
Yeah, and it's important to make your mouth like open in the clickbait so it shows emotion. I've heard about that, so it's a good clickbait actually.
A lot of big red circles and arrows work too. Those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, today we have a lifetime opportunity.
Every day there's a lifetime opportunity. Okay, so TikTok side is not going to work just right away, which is just good. It's showing us when it can actually work from now on. But okay, so let's get started. I see some people in the YouTube side. Of course, we have our Discord. So welcome everyone for another week's BaconDAO community call. As usual, every week. This is in June 27th. This is today's July 11th. And every Sunday we come on live on Discord, YouTube, Twitter, hopefully TikTok soon, to talk about the overall market in crypto, give an update on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on Bitcoin dominance. We cover some of the beginner courses and educational calls we had this week in Crypto 101. We also talk about the latest opportunities and news in BSC, and even soon to be some other chains and other ecosystem opportunities. Along with that, we have Polka, which is a whole nother niche that's very similar, has a lot of opportunities ongoing. Lastly, we talk about low cap, some specific plays that we think are interesting for the week. And then we go through a general update for the BaconDAO project, how we're doing, the token, our launch plans, our latest services, and then we do a Q&A in the end. We try to, for this week, let's try to cut it short at 1 hour, because we do have another event going on later to have a watch party for the Euro finals. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. As usual, we have the first segment is Crypto 101 by Hassan. Unfortunately, Hassan is not here today because our entire Crypto 101 initiative is going to be rolled into one course. That's going to be the first course in our upcoming educational segment for the BaconDAO project. So we don't have Crypto 101 for this week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lions, but but we'll skip ahead to BSC news and opportunities led by Viper. So Viper, what's up?
What's up, guys? As usual, we always start with the rug of the week or the exploit of the week. But good news, I don't know of any that, I don't know any exploit or flash loan that has occurred this week. So it's nice to start off with some good news. Also, Rune Farm, if you're familiar with that project, they released their Rune of Evolution beta. If you're not familiar with that project, it's basically the first play to earn game for the Rune ecosystem. So it's another NFT project. Like I said, NFT projects are, being shilled by Binance themselves. They really are trying to get into this crypto space, so it's important to kind of keep up to date with NFT projects, even if you're not a fan of them. Also, Bogged finally came out with their V3 charts. I believe they launched it a couple days ago, July 9th. Walt Finance, they'd finally completed their migration, basically their Walt token to the Walt X token, and they also gave a final notice to migrate your Cake tokens as well. King DeFi, it was a coin that we mentioned a long time ago. They opened a pool with Walt Finance. You see Walt Finance a lot in the news. That they're really active, so that's good to see. For those of you who are still in Swamp or have been following Swamp, they added a one-click LP for Walt Finance, which basically means you can LP their token with the click of a button. So it's just much easier. Walt Finance also partnered with Farm Hero. So you can see, Walt is definitely staying active, which is nice to see in a project. Also in the news, Venus and Long Drink partnership was announced. Long Drink, I haven't kept up with their token price, but I think with the partnership announcement, it had a little pump. PancakeSwap, as usual, burnt another $72 million worth of cake. If you don't know why they do them, there's no total coin cap, just like Ethereum. So it's a way for them to combat inflation, which is kind of help with the token price. And it comes from other, it's not just random team tokens being burnt. It's tokens that they receive through, LP fees, etc. PancakeSwap has also started their farm auctions. I mentioned this last week, that they have a lot of new updates coming, and the farm auctions was one of them. So they finally implemented that. Bakery Swap has hit 500,000 NFT transactions. Bakery Swap, if you're not familiar with them, they're similar. They're a DEX just like PancakeSwap, but in the earlier days, they were the only NFT market. They were the only place you can go where you can buy, list, and sell NFTs. So, knowing that they sold had 500K NFT transactions is huge. And they also partnered with Leviathan. Argon partnered with Helmet Insure. And then Burger Swap, a project a long time ago that was affected with the flash loan attack. They opened up predictions. It's just like PancakeSwap, where you can predict, in this next 2 hours, is BNB going to be over or under this price? So it's a nice little game you can play and make some money if you're knowledgeable. Auto Farm, they finally added governance to their token. So Auto Farm is just like Beefy Finance. It's a yield aggregator. But the biggest difference was always that with Beefy, it's a governance token at the same time, so you're able to vote on things. So Auto Farm finally added that to their token, which is kind of cool. And lastly, this last educational event had it on Friday, and as I mentioned, I always want to stay with the trend in the news, because there's nothing worse than finding out that something was very profitable after the fact, right? You don't want to hear, "Oh, I made so much money back then. Oh, you should have been there." It's just really annoying. So, as I always mention, you want to follow the hype, follow the trend, follow where the money's going. And so, KuCoin community chain has been the new hype. KuCoin is an exchange just like Binance, but same thing, no KYC, but also no VPN required. So you don't have to evade laws to access it. And just like BSC, they made their own blockchain. And so I went over how to get there, how to use KuCoin Exchange, what type of token it is, the fact that they're burnt, every month, what kind of projects are on there, what's the most popular DEX, what's the most popular charts, projects, and then things to look out for and watch out for. So if the demand is there, I would love to make another educational event on it, but it's so early on KCC that I really went over everything that there is to know right now. They don't even have a stable coin on KCC yet. That being said, the educational content is changing soon, so I will be going back to the beginning steps of BSC, but in the meantime, if there's a topic or a chain that you're interested in, and if there's enough requests, I would love to fulfill those requests. So thank you guys. I'm glad we didn't have any flash loan attacks, and look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Awesome. Thanks for the update again, Viper. Especially, I think this KCC KuCoin community chain, honestly, it sounds quite interesting. KuCoin in my mind is kind of at least from my experience with like new altcoins listing, etc. It goes by like, obviously if you're on Binance, that's great. Binance has the innovation zone, and then just very directly next tier down, you would have KuCoin. So if the coin, typically when they start off, unless they're super legit and they go on Binance directly, they usually go on KuCoin first. Below that is probably Gate. I would say those are still tier 1 exchanges. So KuCoin themselves having a new community chain, aside from the chain aspects, the fact that they have this exchange that can list a lot of new projects, just like the Binance Innovation Zone stuff, that's something that could be very interesting. Versus a player like OKX or Huobi. Huobi has their eco chain, Heko. OKX has their I'm not sure what it's called, but they have their own chain. But those exchanges are a bit more derivatives and overall ecosystem focused, so they can't list as many of these innovation type of coins, but KuCoin does. They list a lot of new coins. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was so interested in KCC is it's literally pre-BSC vibes or early stage BSC vibes. So because I was fortunate enough to catch the trend of BSC in the early days and make a lot of money off that, of course you want to see if this is going to be the next BSC. And honestly, even if you don't want to go on KCC, the tokenomics of KCS are just amazing. I mean, there's less tokens out there than BNB. They have monthly burns. I mean, the market cap's only like 660 million. There's a lot of room to grow. And so just the native gas token itself has been a great return of investment for me myself.
cool, awesome. I think this is something that interests me a lot too. I need to do more research in this, but right away something that comes to mind is like the core difference between how similar KuCoin is to Binance in terms of it's the place to trade altcoins just below Binance is very interesting. Sets it apart from other exchange chains. That makes this more similar to what BSC early days is. Cool. So that's very comprehensive update as usual. Always thanks for the update, Piper. So next up we have I see Lions has added a lot of text for the Polkadot section. That's really good. So let's do Polkadot after. Usually this is covered by the researcher himself, Mahi. But Mahi can't be here on the call today, but there is the information here, so I'll be taking in his place to cover this stuff. So as usual, the current happenings, the Mahi documentary coming. So the latest news and the biggest events in the Polkadot/Kusama ecosystem right now is the parachain slot auctions for Kusama, and along with that their own each project's crowd loans. So quick primer, parachain auctions are a way for different networks in the Polkadot/Kusama ecosystem to get a slot in the overall network, so they become interoperable with everyone else. They have shared security, so it's very easy to spin up your own blockchain with customized features while still being very fast, very cheap, and interoperable with everyone. And you don't even need your own miners or stakers because as long as it's as safe as the Kusama network itself. So, so that's why these slots are very demanded. They have high demand, and we've seen Kala being the first parachain slot winner. We saw Moonbeam as the second, if I'm not mistaken. Akala's parachain on Kusama is called Karura, Moonbeam's is called Moon River, and now we see Shiden. Shiden Network has won the third parachain slot auction on Kusama. So Shiden's is the sister network of Astar, which used to be called Plasm. And yeah, so this is honestly not too much of a surprise. These Polkadot / Kusama networks are very, they're kind of very tiered, right? Because with these crowd loans, they're essentially asking their community to give them money in the short term so they can go for these auctions, and later on they'll return the money and a bit of their native tokens as a reward. That's why following this parachain auction has been very interesting, because there's actually a place that you can see all of the parachain rankings. So Kusama parachain crowd loan rankings. Essentially, you can see each project, how much they have received their community fundings. And okay, we'll find that later. But so now that we have the third winner of the Kusama parachain, which is Shiden, and they have secured over 130k KSM contributed to their crowd loan, which at current price of $200 is what is it? 30 million, right? So a lot of money. Yeah, so shows that they have a very strong community. Obviously, it's not as much as Akala's or Moonbeam's, but nonetheless, this is one of the top projects in the whole Polkadot / Kusama ecosystem. So great to hear for this. Then in the second piece of news, we have actually let's. This is also very interesting because last week we covered how Shiden Network or Astar in the Polkadot ecosystem was actually the rebrand of Plasm. So Plasm used to be focused on layer 2 solutions, so just scaling the network base layer. That was their core focus, but now they're a bit more application focused. So instead of just doing layer 2, they're doing their whole thing that supports EVM, supports WebAssembly, so you can migrate any Ethereum smart contract over to Shiden Network and Astar Network, whether that's DeFi, NFTs, or any other dApps. So this is a really good move because this enables this Shiden / Astar network to now not only be something you look at as like how fast their scaling is, but also what are the projects they're building on there. So I think this is a really good move, like we covered last week, makes them a lot more speculatable, right? Because you can have tons of partnerships and news and big projects launching on there. So this is, currently definitely one of my favorite projects in the Polkadot / Kusama parachain basket, because I like to look at applications instead of so much like base layer. Next up, we have Moon River. The Moon River parachain has encountered an error. While performing a runtime upgrade, Moon River stopped producing blocks. Honestly, not too much of an issue, I would say. Again, this is very early days. So you can go on Moonbeam's website and check out the Moon River launch status, and you see they have all the date updates for how they first start off being centralized, and they move to delegated proof of stake, and then they start opening up everything to be community governed. Not only Moon River, but also Akala or Karura on Kusama. The very early days, there were hiatus in the network due to, funny enough, our market app, too many people buying those our market token eggs, actually congested the network and spotted some upgrade dependencies that were broken. So this is just a gentle reminder that this is very early days. You will see a lot of these test scenarios being broken on Moonriver, on Karura, on Shiden Network, and all the other parachains. But this is basically the last step to make things very fully decentralized, so that anyone can launch on there. That's why they are still somewhat centralized right now. Their networks are live as parachains, but they have to run through all the scenarios until everything is stable before it fully launches as a decentralized blockchain. So that's the second piece of news, is Moonriver is progressing slowly but encountered an error, but they have soon be able to fix themselves. Now, third piece of news is Raids Network has joined the DeFi Alliance. So Raids Network is a substrate-based cross-chain privacy protocol for the Polkadot/Kusama ecosystem. It is built as a native privacy layer that can provide end-to-end anonymity for the entire DeFi stack. Cool. So privacy is a big thing in especially DeFi, a little bit NFTs as well. So obviously this is a good piece of news, but maybe let's just talk about how privacy is used. People think, oh, privacy, okay, I'm conserving my online identity, people don't track my data, but in the dApp/blockchain perspective, it's actually a lot more applicable, understandable than that. Because when you use DeFi, say you have a lot of money and you want to put it into some new DeFi project, if you don't have privacy enabled on your whatever through Raids Network, people can just directly follow your on-chain, your Ethereum wallet or Polkadot wallet, and whenever you buy something, people just buy or front run you with more gas. So this costs you a lot of money. And say you're a developer and you have done, Andre Cronje is a prime example. You have developed and deployed very good projects before, and now you cannot use that wallet because anything you deploy, as long as it has any token related, people will just find it within 30 minutes and buy up all the tokens or just try to spam the new dApp that you just deployed. So it makes developing there also very difficult. And that's why, same thing in NFTs, a lot of these new NFT projects, they have these minting features, right? So all the big NFT influencers and so-called insiders that get the early news, when they mint these things, right away, a lot of people that follow these people's wallets on chain get notified. So without privacy features, it's really difficult to do things sort of pseudo-anonymously, like majority of the DeFi/NFT ecosystem participants have, right? Just a regular player, you can do whatever you want. Nobody will follow your accounts. But if your account is very, if your blockchain wallet is very famous, right? You have a lot of money, etc., it becomes very difficult to do anything. You lose a lot of money there. So privacy is very important. So and Raids Network is one of the leading players in the Polkadot ecosystem to be doing this. So yeah, bit of alpha there. Next up, we have Basilisk, which is by HydraDX, has started their crowd loan. So now you can participate in the crowd loan campaign for Basilisk, which is the HydraDX is their Polkadot native network, their Polkadot side's name, and then Basilisk is their Kusama side's name. So now if you are interested in yet another crowd loan and you think this project is particularly interesting, you can go on their crowd loan campaign to loan them some Kusama or KSM tokens. And then this in turn will give you, based on how many KSMs you contribute, you can receive their native tokens, which is BSX, once they have concluded their crowd loan. Yeah, so that's another crowd loan starting. And honestly, these crowd loans are going to be very lucrative, as many of the Polkadot insiders say, because although this is technically just free money, you loan KSM or DOT tokens to these projects, but it is basically the only way to get into these major network tokens early. So definitely check out your favorite ones. Next up, we have finally a gem slash crowd loan that Mahi is particularly interested in, which is Genshiro DeFi or Equilibrium. Okay, I know this project. So Genshiro is a trustless cross-chain DeFi hub on Kusama inspired by Equilibrium. I'm especially impressed with the team behind Genshiro and Equilibrium following successful launch of BSC Polkadot Bridge. Additionally, Genshiro has doubled the reward for ration for the remaining crowd loan. Yeah, so I talk about this because I know Equilibrium, this project, since very early on. So they are the actually the team that made the EOS DT. So if you know the EOS network, the sort of tether that's the most widely used stablecoin on the EOS ecosystem is actually EOS DT, which is made by these guys at Equilibrium, Equilibrium.io. So their tech is very strong, and this team has been around since probably 2018, and now see technology stack EOS.io, and I think sometime last year they announced that they're officially moving towards Polkadot / Kusama through their cross-chain campaign, and now they're going for a parachain slot in the Kusama ecosystem with their Genshiro parachain. So this is the slot option, and you can get 2,400 gens per 1 KSM that you loan to them. Yeah, definitely I would contribute to this if I had KSM lying around. Yeah, just personally, I like through my previous companies that I work with, we have dealt with EOSDT. They're very they have a very strong technology background, just based on their stablecoin development on EOS. And you see, just looking at purely the campaigns, they are not leading. They only have $1 million raised. The latest leaders, Shiden's already won. Next up is probably going to be Kala and Bifrost. Yeah, so those are probably the next two to compete. But yeah, this is definitely a good project. So good spot there, Mahi. And that's it for all of the Polkadot news for today. Again, as usual, it's very important to follow up with these crowd loan campaigns in the currently Kusama ecosystem, later on Polkadot. Not only is it a way to, if you just have a Kusama and you're holding them, you might as well loan it out. You will get those native tokens back and the KSM back 100% guaranteed. So it's basically free money if you are holding KSM. And also speculating on the individual projects, picking your favorites, as well as seeing how profitable these KSM crowd loans are going to be, will be a good indication of how profitable the later on DOT crowd loans are going to be. So if you are interested in the Polkadot / Kusama ecosystem, this is the thing to follow. So make sure you get the latest digest for these crowd loans. Okay, so that's Polkadot / Kusama for this week. Next up, we have low cap and layer 2 news, as well as Bitcoin dominance, led by our head contributor Luke. So
how's
Luke,
it going, Dennis?
what's up?
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah.
I will pick up Viper's exploit. Not a rug of the week, but chain swap was exploited earlier this week, and the hacker, quite a few projects were affected by this exploit, and the hacker started to market sell a lot of these tokens, and I think on Uniswap, and as a result, a lot of these projects have dumped quite a bit. The list of these projects, I dropped this in events content for those who are interested, but the affected projects, aside from ChainSwap, are Wilder Worlds, Antimatter, Option Room, Umbrella Blank, Nord, Razor, Perry, Unido, Oro, Vortex, Blank, Uniform, and there's some more, but I think those were the main ones affected. Kind of unfortunate to see, but of course this happens all the time. So always have don't put all your eggs in one basket is one thing I would say about that. Even if the project is strong, like ChainSwap, they can have, or even some of the other projects affected, they can have outside effects that affect the price. So, anyways, moving on. NFTs are heating up again, and Rarible has just surpassed 150 million in trading volume, almost 1 year later. Yeah, so just recently, Twitter released some NFTs on Rarible, and quite a bit of NFT action has been going on here in the recent months, and of course, Rarible has Rarible's trading volume has only increased along with the market, so it's good to see. Nonce Finance, it got a lot of news earlier this week for its name, but what they ultimately plan to do is they seek to tokenize NFTs. So many individuals can invest in NFTs, and so NFTs can have a more liquid market overall. So this is a project sort of similar to NFTX. I think NFTX is a bit more trading oriented, so this might be more tokenized. Nonce might be more geared towards tokenizing these NFTs, but of course NFTX also does that. So I don't see exactly where they fit in now, but good to keep an eye on, especially with the NFT market being as hot as it is right now. Railgun staking is now live. For those who don't know, Railgun looks to challenge Tornado Cash as the main privacy protocol of Ethereum. Railgun is a project I've covered a little bit here and there. I have some pretty high hopes for Railgun. And now that staking is live, you can earn some passive income if you do own any. I think their ticker is Rail. So some pretty interesting news this week. Not interesting, but some pretty good news this week is Sushi is partnered with Archer. And for those who don't know, Archer has a MEV shield, which protects users from being front-runned and sandwiched. So a lot of us don't have to worry about it here because we're not making huge transactions. But what people will do is if big players are making transactions in the market, they so what a sandwich will do is they'll market buy a whole bunch of so if the person is trying to buy sushi, in a sandwiched transaction, the sandwicher will pay more Ethereum than the person who's trying to process than the person who's being sandwiched. So their transaction will go through first. They'll market buy a whole bunch of the token that the person who they're targeting is trying to buy. So it raises the price. Then when their target's order executes, then the sandwicher will then go and market sell the rest of their tokens and then take the profit from their target. So front run is almost the same thing, except it's people will I forget what being front run is right now. People will people will track Vitalik's wallet, for example, and people will sell off their tokens before he sells off his tokens.
Yeah,
So
it's like when you have a super high slippage, if you're trading a large amount, and Uniswap will say like you are potentially losing 10%, but they advise against you setting the slippage allowance too high, because if you set it at 10%, there are bots watching that and will say, okay, this guy's trying to allowing 10% slippage, so then we'll prop the price up 5% there, knowing that he will still execute his trade because his allowance is 10%. So they'll push your slippage to the limit and profit off of you because they buy a little bit, push the price even more into your slippage, make your trade less profitable, and then sell right after. So like it makes your trade very have even higher slippage, basically.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
You saved me there. Yeah, so we've been so I think Archer and its partnership with Sushi is definitely a strong partnership, and overall, just talking about Sushi real quick, I think Sushi is definitely the most hungry team when it comes to the DEX environment. I think them, alongside with 1inch, are definitely making the most innovations in this space. And given its price tag, I don't think Uniswap is the best bet right now. Especially, they do have a lot of innovations, and they have a smart team, but it's the partnerships with Archer and all these other small implementations that our Sushi is implementing is what's making it stronger overall. So, just my 2 cents on Sushi. Some Layer 2 news. Layer 2 has been kind of drying up this last couple weeks, but Optimism is excited to announce that they will enable synthetic trading the week of July 26th. With the final deployment date depending on Spartan Council approval. So we should see, I think synthetics will be launching here on July 26th, and then they'll soon release, I think, short positions and futures here in the following weeks. So we do see Optimism is heating up, and there's high hopes for it, and I hope this will help bring in a DeFi Summer 2.0. Speaking of which, their main competitor, or not really a competitor, but someone who's also doing the same thing in the space, Arbitrum, is also just around the corner. With no exact date announced just yet, they are saying that they look forward to DeFi's Summer 2.0. So they're kind of teasing that they'll be launched sometime in the summer. I'm guessing with that. With over 300 projects building on Arbitrum, this is definitely a highly anticipated launch. Much like Optimism, there's definitely a high demand for projects like Uniswap and Sushi and a lot of these main blue chip projects to get onto Arbitrum and Optimism. So much like how we saw with Polygon earlier this year, once Aave and I forget who the other blue chip was, once they came over, the entire network started to boom. So I have very high hopes for Arbitrum and Optimism, as they already have this working environment with a lot of blue chips. So hopefully once things get up and running, a lot of the environments from Polygon and Ethereum will start, and liquidity will start moving over to Arbitrum and Optimism. I forget which one, but I think they might both be implementing this. I think they will both have a one bridge to their network. So unlike a lot of these other EMV compatible chains, there are multiple chains going over into the network, and there's been a lot of exploits and just problems with bridging overall. So Arbitrum is definitely going to have one bridge, but I think Optimism is also. And with this one bridge, they seek to mitigate any losses through bridging and exploits and whatnot. So that's just a side note for anyone who is interested.
Right.
And I think that's all for low cap and layer 2 this week. But
cool.
A pretty interesting week overall, and lots to look forward to.
Awesome. I think that's super good. Very comprehensive analysis overall. Okay, just to save a bit of time. So we'll be releasing this entire article of all of the week's research and what we covered on the stream today as a Medium article starting from this week. So if you want to see any of the stuff afterwards, just go on the Medium article and we'll post this right after. But let's move on to the Bitcoin/Ethereum analysis with our lead TA wizard of BaconDAO, Wonka. Wonka, what's up?
What's up, WB? Thanks, guys, for coming in. Slow week. Market is boring sideways, but that's good for altcoins. While Bitcoin is raging, we're gonna see some really good impulsive moves in altcoins. As usual, I'll be sending out charts in events content section. And before starting the analysis, I want to say that in the previous week, if you remember, I've built. It was like 1 year plan of trades. Yeah, you can forget about that. Literally nothing worked out from there. So let's go forward with what we have now, how the market developed and what is it looking like. As I said, Bitcoin still remains in sideways motion, which is very pretty interesting. Is that we are trading below weekly 21 EMA, on which is long-term support of the bull run, and that's quite crazy. There has not been such instances when Bitcoin was trading so slow below weekly 21 EMA. The scenario is still developing. The point here is that once we break 40,000, or we might not actually break 40,000, and I'll show you in smaller time frames, everyone will flip bullish, guys. Everyone will say, oh my god, bull run is back, we are going to 100k, then we're gonna dump to 25k, and people are gonna say, oh my god, we're going to 10k, but actually it's gonna be that from 25 we're gonna head to 100k. So that once VB said something like this, you gotta think sometimes of the max pain that the market can give.
Yeah.
And I think this scenario, the way I see it, this is how it's gonna play out. Maybe it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to play out, but I don't see us making all-time high this year especially, and instead I see us making lower low around 25,000. The support line, which is the red line, is the weekly low close that is holding pretty damn strong, and what we want to see is up thrust to the upside, taking out the shorts and flipping bears to bulls again, and then market just plummets again when bears are also bulls. So it's kind of a reversal play between bears and bulls. They're gonna be all confused. This is that was the weekly case. This is the daily chart, and we've likely bottomed here. It's kind of at the red line. That was the temporary bottom, and I'm looking forward to 40,700 as a target for wave C. And the interesting part here, guys, is that that 40.7 might be only 1/3 of the B wave that I initially had my target around 46,000. That might be only 1/3 of the B wave or full B wave, and we're not going to know that until. So the point is that we're not going to know that. If 32k is broken, then yeah, I'm gonna say that the 40.7 was the high of the B wave. So yeah, it's still early for me to say that the end of the B wave is 40.7, because on the chart you can see that I have B wave in the red as well up there. So that might be the case. That was the daily. Bitcoin on 1 hour. What do I see there? So I see that we've started another impulse. I have not initiated long there. Instead, I'm shorting altcoins, which basically doubled, I think, or tripled in this past 3 days. They rallied more than 100%, and my current trades are shorting altcoins. And I see that Bitcoin is in sort of impulse, and I'm anticipating as a short-term target to be at 35.2k, 35.2 region. And the fifth wave of this push-up will close around 40.7. And as I said, that either going to be 1/3 of the correction B wave or the full sequence. And we will know that after we touch 32,000. If we touch from 40.7, 32,000, then yeah, I'm gonna say that it was the full B wave. And also I want to note something here that Bitcoin might just go sideways again here. Instead of going up to 35.2, we might enter triangle again here, or failure wave, or whatever. At this point, I'm convinced that in mid grinder situations, it's not good to like count on the bullish moves that I see with regards to my waves. That's it for Bitcoin. In the summary, I'm waiting for the 35.2 target. If that is broken, then yeah, we're likely going to head to 40.7 thousand. Let's go on Ethereum. Let's start with weekly scale. It remains in corrective mood. As long as we keep below 2,640, there are no reasons to get excited for Ethereum, any pump whatsoever. And for now, the structure looks like that we are in bear impulse wave 2, which will be followed by third wave and then by fourth wave. My initial target for ETH in this bear market is at 1,143 bucks. And I know it's below the all-time high, and it's kind of hard to see ETH not holding all-time high, but hey, this is what it is. Third wave might get truncated and fifth wave as well. Therefore, we're just gonna follow whatever the market does. This is ETH on 4 hours. So far, we had leading diagonally in Ethereum. That is telling me that there was wave A, B coming down, and C should go up. I'm sorry, that was wave A. Right now we have A wave coming down, B wave going up, and then C wave coming down. But there are two cases that I see for Ethereum, and I will introduce in the next slide the latter one. But for now, Ethereum is in complete corrective mode. I don't see anything special coming out from Ethereum in the coming weeks, even though the big London upgrade is coming out, and also the EIP 1599. I'm not sure if that's London fork. If it is, correct me, VB, please. But yeah, and that's the second case for Ethereum, that we had expanded correction. An expanded correction means that whenever, at this point, we know that wave B's usually retrace a little of wave A, and then C makes lower low. But there are instances where B waves take out the high of wave 5, and then just to make lower low. Both cases are valid in terms of wave structures and Fibonacci relationships. Therefore, unless Ethereum breaks 2000, basically 2000, I'm gonna consider that this was expanded flat. Or if we break the recent high where I have around 2,400, then I'm gonna assume that that was the B wave going up. So instead of expanded correction, we have the previous one. That's it for today, guys. Not much to say about the market. As I said, it's in Bitcoin is in corrective mode. It's in sideways, still digesting the dump from 65,000, and money will flow into altcoins, and that is because smart money doesn't like their money to be still. Doesn't like their money without work, so they're gonna deploy it in altcoins, and that's where my focus is as well. Thanks for listening, guys, and if you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah. VB, take it away.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, thanks for the update, Wonka. I think overall, something like the weekly and daily, I think we can all. I agree with you very strongly with the levels you have. A bit long term, right? Like we're most likely going to be either sideways or once we break out, it's not going to be very clear cut. Going to be quite either we see something like, you know, a relief bounce that seems very convincing but crash down, or something like just slowly die down a little bit but then like go up again. But max pain scenario, people need to watch out for. Yes. So, and for me, I still have the same levels on the chart as you, around 31K and 41K. Same as the dailies, you can see daily like 40K, 750, 32K, probably I would say 31K here, but very similar levels. Wait for a clear break of either those, above here or below here. Now intraday, you can follow Wonka for the specific shorter term wave counts to see which move is the more likely one. I'm not following this too closely right now because I frankly don't have too much time to trade very actively right now. But yeah, if you have the patience and you think you're made up for it, then yeah, you can do intraday, but make sure that you understand this is intraday. Anything you decide with these kind of shorter, right, 32K, 36K type of moves, you're just trying to see, okay, is it going to 40 first next, or is it going to 30 next, right? But longer term, that is not reliable to look at 1 hour chart to decide, are we in bull or bear? Make sure you understand that. Same thing for ETH, right? I think this will highly depend on Bitcoin, right? Whether Bitcoin breaks up or down. And that's why I look at ETH BTC chart. But again, if you're trading intraday on the 1 hour, 4 hour, again, know that this is shorter term. So you're trading shorter term. So tell yourself this is trading shorter term. Make sure you have stop loss, take profits, right? You have a clear cut trade setup with take profit and invalidation. Otherwise, if you're trading 1 hour to 4 hour, but you just keep holding that because you think just because you're wrong, you're right for a shorter period of time, you are right for a major move. That's not the case. But other than that, I think your analysis is quite spot on. I would say it's much more realistic and unbiased. And this week, I think it's really good.
Yeah, last week was
crazy. I mean, it's ideal, right?
I literally planned out 1 year trade.
Yeah, it was ideal scenario. Yeah, but like, I like people know how you will act on those, but like when people see it, they'll think, okay, this is for sure gonna happen. But realistically, it's more like, okay, if it happens, then I take this trade, and then if the next setup happens, then I take the next one. But that's what trading is. People react and adapt, right? So, yeah, okay. So let's move on to the Bitcoin dominance analysis by Luke, and this is also ties into what Wonka has talked a lot about, which is the how we're playing the altcoin market right now. Looking at Bitcoin dominance, altcoins are overall starting to fall again against Bitcoin. So I'll let Luke take it away, and I have a brush on the screen. I can show it.
Yes, how's it going, everybody? Again. So yeah, on the weekly, we see Bitcoin dominance has fell back down to a weekly support. And on this weekly support, on this trend line, we see, or on this candle, we see it blew through support, and then the wick has pushed it back up. So it has tested the support and pulled back up. On this scale, it looks like it has bounced, and that's kind of what I think, going off my initial analysis a couple days. And I thought it was going to bounce here, but if you go on to the daily scale, it looks like Bitcoin dominance has started to slow a little bit. It looks like Bitcoin dominance has started to slow a little bit. Hold on, I think that might be an old chart. Is it?
I can just bring up the trading view for.
Yeah.
So I have the same lines as you, so that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, just keep going, and I'll map out the chart.
Okay. Sorry, I have to. Okay, so on my chart, I have a my weekly support is at 45.32, and then I have a resistance, a daily resistance around 46.05%. And currently, Bitcoin dominance on the daily has started to feel this daily resistance. and we see that it's starting to slow down. Also with this resistance, we have the 50 daily EMA right there, which also may be pushing it down. And it looks on this scale that it might get rejected. It looks really uncertain on this range, and ultimately it's all predicated on what Bitcoin does. But right now it looks like we might get a short-term rejection. And then if you go on to the 4-hour, we see that this rejection. We can see this rejection in a little bit better detail. On my screen, here, let me see if I can drop a...
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of this short term, like 4-hour, we have a top here.
Oh, my resistance is at 46.05.
Okay. 0.05. I think it's a little bit too precise. I would say even this whole area here, even down to here, like you have, so this is first test of the neckline. This is technically just wick through neckline. We used 46% basically as resistance throughout first 2 weeks of June, first 3 weeks of June, broke above that, used it as support a little bit, broke below again, now retesting. So could see that.
And then on the daily, it is rejecting from, or on the 4-hour, it does look like it's rejecting from this 46% right now. It's came up, it's tested it, it broke back down, and it's came up and tested it again, and it looks like it's breaking down to make lower lows. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we're too zoomed in here. I think if I were to chart this, looking at the same lines that you have, 46% and around 45. Yeah, around 45. I would say this is all, because you have to take into account like Bitcoin dominance is calculated, right? It's not an actual exchange traded pair, so there's a lot of fluctuations. So I wouldn't look at under daily too much for time frame for Bitcoin dominance. And sometimes like TradingView does this calculation. Sometimes they kick random altcoins out of the index, and sometimes they like adjust the thing so it just like misbehaves all of a sudden. Like we've seen that. If I were to, I would still say this is an uptrend, just a retest of the uptrend. Because if you look at like the weekly, the orange line I think is on your chart. So we have the same support breakdown, the diagonal, and then right now we are pretty much just retesting the diagonal trend line. This is also the neckline, right, of the two first higher lows there that we made. So you could even call this like you can't really call this a cup and handle because there were two higher lows there, but nonetheless this is just a trend line support there on the bottom with higher lows. Made two higher lows, broke above the resistance, briefly had a retest. I think this is, I'm still on the boat of just this trending up, because I wouldn't look at the 4-hour if it were me. Instead I would look at like a higher level trend, right, which is the diagonal trend line we've had again since very early on in like 2019, right? This is a downtrend, and then acted as resistance here, and same thing as the major alt season, right? We on the way down we had clear downtrend resistance, broke above that. Now this has made a higher low. That's the key here, is the very long-term higher low that we made. And now more convincing structure is like we made a third higher low, I would say. As long as we don't break below 41.5, I would say this is still uptrend instead of potentially reversing. Yes, short term, like we might revisit like 41, 42% ish, but I think it's just anything there is just bull traps in altcoins, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was trying to highlight. It was more the short term pullback.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Given that Bitcoin stays stagnant and kind of trading in its range. So I think we kind of have the same conclusion overall.
Mm-hmm. Let me just
anyways.
Anyways, sorry to take it over there. I think it's.
I think I had the wrong text and the wrong pictures in this daily.
Okay,
digest,
no worries.
Yeah, just disregard that.
Okay.
Currently, I think right now, I think when we have that break of the red box that you were drawing on your screen, I think that's where I'll definitely sell off a lot of my altcoins. But right now, I think I do want to speculate on the short-term pullback just for myself. And I think I will enter some altcoins just a little bit, but again, this will all just be with money that I'm willing to lose. And if you decide to enter in this region also with riskier altcoins, then of course do the same. So that's just what I'm doing here in the coming days. So just so it's all out there.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. It's like we saw this from June 22nd, 23rd to July 7th. So we had about 2 weeks of altcoins recovery, mostly because like Bitcoin hit 31K and then it bounced back. And then, yes, it's still within the range of 31 to like 41K, but because it's now bouncing towards the upside, people think, okay, this is like bull market is back, like everyone bullish again. And that's why we saw this drop in Bitcoin dominance, altcoin briefly recovery. But you see, as long as it doesn't break out of that range, right, it's still within 31 to 41K, then if it's just bouncing, every time that it bounces up, right, we see a little bit of a recovery, but then the next time that it bounces down again, like we're seeing right now, the recovery gains in altcoins are going to be erased. Right, altcoins are going to lose more valuation when it drops back down to 31K again. People FUD even more because like they got optimistic again, but then they got crushed again. So they are even less confident. Some people just exit entirely, and then next time it bounces, the altcoin recovery is going to have less of a positive upswing. So yeah, I think until Bitcoin really settles itself outside of this range and makes a clear move, any altcoins trades we make are pretty much short term. Yeah, just how I'm playing it. So right now, I'm only just holding my long term bags, and my ETH. I don't hold any ETH. It's all in Bitcoin right now because ETH underperforming Bitcoin, right? Like what we've discussed. And I'll close off with that, I guess, because we are already over 1 hour mark. But if you look at ETH, Bitcoin, so this is the chart that I've shown on TikTok like 3 times now. We have this long-term resistance there for ETH versus Bitcoin's valuation since 2019, right? Summer 2019. Major run-up in alt season since beginning of this year. Then we had a crash in May. And then ETH has since printed a double top there with a higher low, lower high. Now it broke down below this long-term resistance, which acted as support a little bit, but then now acts as resistance again. And this rally here caught a lot of people because a lot of like impatient people were bullish here, but then I told people, as long as ETH doesn't get above like 0.7077, this is just a bull trap, right? And you see, the second that Bitcoin starts showing that, we're not necessarily confirmed new bull market yet, ETH starts falling much quicker than Bitcoin. So this is still very risky to trade. And that's why I don't hold any ETH right now. I think chances are, right, ETH is either going to do like just kind of nothing here and like be very much more risky than Bitcoin, while doesn't outperform Bitcoin at all. So even if you are speculating on like sideways movement, it's better to be in Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin does drop below 30K, ETH is going to drop way more, right, towards these lower levels against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks upwards, Bitcoin is most likely going to lead the way, I think, unless ETH just somehow becomes very strong and clearly breaks above this 0.077, then that would be the one scenario that I would jump back into ETH very early, is if Bitcoin breaks above like 41, 42K, confirms at least a short-term upswing, uptrend, and ETH just outperforms it so much, then I would say, okay, fine, like market is overall very confident again, then I'll jump into ETH and some altcoins. But until this happens, I'm not trading altcoins and I'm not trading ETH. And ETH is the perfect example because we need market confidence in altcoins in order for altcoins to make sense, versus just holding Bitcoin. And the easiest asset, the easiest altcoin for people to be confident in is ETH, right? Because ETH has the highest market cap, the most adoption, way ahead of anyone else. So if nobody's even touching ETH, then nobody will touch any other altcoin, right? So that's why I'm watching ETH BTC very closely. Aside from that, that's pretty much it for all the analysis we have this week. Again, quick primer, a quick refresher, just I don't know what that is. Keep watching, right? 31 to 42K, right? 41K actually, 31 to 41K, key range here, right? Until we have a break up or down, not taking any trades. Still holding Bitcoin. I'm not holding just fiat, but if we break below 31, I'll be going into fiat. If we break above 41, I'll look at altcoins potentially. Other than that, just staying safe as usual, right? Just same as last week, right? Conserving your capital in these range bound times is the most important thing you can do, because I'll leave it off with the same, tip as last week. Everyone that traded the short term last week lost a bit of money again because like it's so uncertain. Just conserving your capital until the actual trade comes to you is the best thing you could do, because in these periods, all of the people that think they know what they're doing get lost and they lose the money that they but once the actual trend develops, then you can trading becomes much more easy, and whether you're bullish or bearish or not, it's conserving your capital and actually riding the trend when they develop is the play, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I think that's about it for this week. Let's let everyone to jump on the Euro Cup Finals watch party there, and in terms of BaconDAO updates, I'll make a couple TikTok videos just to cover that, and maybe even posting them on YouTube instead. Yeah, so we can cut this stream a little bit short today, and if you have Q&As, leave them in the events chat. I'll just answer them directly with text for the next like half an hour or so. I'll also give a quick BaconDAO update on TikTok so that we can use that to share to cover this week's BaconDAO updates. So thanks guys. I'll leave it there just to not take out any more of your time. Join the BaconDAO live stream community call same time next week on Sunday. Hope this call has been helpful. Stay safe out there, conserve your capital. I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.